heck are you? I'd done a video earlier, and you'll see that this next one coming up, I'll make reference to it, and you'll see that I had to redo this first video, mainly because I started editing it, and it was like, wow, that really turned out like some tax lawyer talking to you. Whew. I had just gotten in a USDA report, and it was going over a 2-year average of pricing, yield reports, and input costs. So it really drove home the point that, gonna be another bad year for farmers if this continues. Let me explain to you where I'm at. In pricing wise, the average over the last 2 years in soybean, okay, for GM, genetically modified soybean, is running about $10.40 a bushel, okay. And for conventional, it was a little better. It was about $11.68 for conventional soybean. Then you get down into the corn area, and these figures seem a little high for what they got last year, but like I said, it was a 2-year average, so that could be where it's at. For the GM corn, the genetically modified corns, it was 3.25 a bushel, and then whenever you looked at the corn, it was in the neighborhood of I think 405 bushel, something like that. Hang on for just 1 second. All right, sorry about that. Anyway, for your in your corn, for your conventional corn, it was running about 405 a bushel. They also had their yield reports out, and I got to be honest with you, I question their yield reports. Primarily because I know guys growing conventional crops and they're doing far better than that, which would tell me that probably the GM crop is doing better than that too. Organic crop sounds pretty much right. Could be a little low, but they're talking about yields per acre on this. And for the GM crop, that's been about 55 bushels an acre. Lions, tigers, bears. They didn't have the corn out there. This is soybean yields. They say in conventional was 53, and I personally know farmers who've gotten better yields than that. And then they had organic down at 45. And yeah, I can see that 2-year average national. That'd be about right. But let's go back up and look at prices again. Now we went over the GM soy, $10.39, GM corn, $3.25, conventional soy, $11.68, conventional corn, $4.05. Didn't tell you about the organic, did I? Organic soybean. Now this is the low protein soybean, $27 to $30 a bushel. Yeah, you didn't hear me wrong. $27 to $30 a bushel. In the corn, and from what I saw in the prices down here, of course, they're doing a nationwide thing, you're looking at $12 to $13 a bushel for organic corn, as opposed to $3.25 for GM and $4 for conventional. So the price is there for the organic products. Then you get into your situation of your input costs. Now this one here, I don't know who the heck they were talking to, because I can tell you right now, input costs for GM products is considerably higher than that from what I've talked to farmers here. But they were estimating that for a GM crop, inputs was about $650 an acre. Suddenly you realize that stuff costs a lot of money to get in that ground, doesn't it? Yeah, it does. Conventional was around 500, and organic was around 400. Okay. Organic. Already connecting the dots here. Get higher prices and lower costs on inputs. So I decided to just take a look at soybean real quick using their figures. Okay. And let's see how you did if you were a farmer farming 100 acres. Okay. Over this 2 year average. If you were growing a general GM crop of soybean, you lost on an average of darn near $8,000 a year. Lost $8,000 a year. Whew. Yeah, you got to work your tush off, and didn't get paid a dime. You paid for the privilege. Now, your sales is going to be about $57,000 a year. Want to see why farms are going under? These folks are living on that $57,000, not paying their bills, and they're going down. Conventional, a little better. You could actually, if you can trim your household budget down to get by on a little over $10,000 a year, you made it. Which means you're probably not in as bad of a situation as the guys that are growing the GM product. Ready for this, folks? If you were an organic farmer, farming that same 100-acre land, planting soybean, okay? Your farm made $81,000. $81,000. That's a living. Okay. That's the difference. Is organic farming a little bit more difficult? You bet. Okay. Do you have to use your head more? You bet. Things like you can plant a corn crop and leave a cover crop down at the same time if you planted the correct cover crop. When it grows low, it's not going to interfere with the combine. Something like clovers. Okay, you just go out there and take your drill to it, go for it. Pretty soon you got all this pretty corn standing up over the top of that clover. There's ways to do it, folks. So as you're figuring out your homesteading, when you're young, so forth, produce is a great way to go, but it's very labor intensive. Very labor intensive. You're going to work your tush off, but you're going to make good money. If you've got the right setup and you're in the right location, and when it comes to produce, location, folks. Because you're not going to have one big customer buying everything. Because if you do, you're losing your shirt. It's a grocery store chain, and they're giving you peanuts. But if you have nice restaurants in the area, you have folks with disposable income, you got good farmers markets, you got a place where you can set up a roadside stand on your place, things of this nature, you will do very well. Yeah. If you don't, then produce gets a little iffy, and you might want to lean more toward the grains. Okay, because grains are loaded in the field, taken to the silos, you're done. Okay, so that gives you that was off of the USDA figures. Now you see why nobody's planting corn this year. These GM farmers can't afford to lose any more money, and they have to make money. So, they're going to go for that. And I think if they really sit back and look at it and go, I need more than $10,000 to live on. Now you understand when I was telling you that farmers are cutting back on things like fertilizers and stuff like this, equipment purchases, big maintenance tickets on their farms, things of this nature. It is because they can't afford those costs. And they have to cut those input costs down a lot lower than what the national average is if they're going to make any money. There you have it. And for heaven's sakes, you guys that are out there doing conventional farming, quit poisoning your soil, go organic, and make a decent living. Okay? Yeah, it's going to take some re-education. It's going to take you about 3 years to get your soil certified. and get your certification, sometimes less if you haven't really been out there pumping the herbicides and insecticides and fungicides to your soil hot and heavy. You should be able to get your certification pretty quick. Get your certification, because you're not going to be able to sell that grain at silos without it, as it being organic. Get your farm cleaned up. Start making money. It's all been a lie. All this GMO herbicide nonsense is nothing but a lie. The yields aren't there. Okay? The yields are not there. By the USDA's own figures, for you to use a GM product, you're not getting that big a yield difference from fellow growing the standard corn. You're not. It's pathetic. Once again, Mother Monsanto, she's a liar. And she's lying to you too. Keep playing their game. The end of the road is going to be that auction sign in your front yard. Back away from it. Now, 100 acres, that's not a lot of land for a grain farmer. And now you see why. If you're growing conventional, okay, and you can make $10,000 an acre profit, you have to sit back and go, now, how much do I need to pay my bills and to live? You may need to be farming 1,000 acres. See where it's at? That's why in grain, it's usually the old adage, go big or go home. As you can see, the fellow that is running the organic farm, he's doing pretty good with small acreage. Something to think about, folks. Don't buy into the nonsense. And that's what it is. It's nonsense. Will these prices eventually change? Will organic always be this high? No, as long as they keep pumping poison out, yeah. But sooner or later, when organic supply and demand get more balanced out, because right now the demand's up here and the supply is down here. Once that starts to balance out, then you're going to start seeing a price drop. But at the same time, because of what you're planting, because your seed prices as an organic farmer are directly tied to standard seed price. So if your standard seed price or crop price starts dropping, so will your seed price. So your input costs are going to go down. You're using different techniques in which to fertilize your fields to where you're cutting your input costs. You're using compost and you're using animals out there in the fields and things of this nature. I mean, if you're planting corn, you go out and make your harvest, you cut your silage out there, you turn your cattle loose, you got clover out there, you're probably going to have some grasses and things of this nature. You have silage out there for them. And guess what? Those cows are going to eat real good. And they're going to poop all over the place and pee all over the place and help fertilize your soil and build that back. And they're going to work that stuff into the soil, going to help your microbial life. And then guess what? You're going to get to take all those cows at the end of the season and go sell them. Yeah, and make some more money. That's what I'm saying. Because you're running them on grass-fed organic cattle. Worth more than standard. All right? Same thing applies. Use your heads. Use your heads. And I'm talking to you existing farmers. You need to start using your heads. You're being lied to. They're not getting those. I think these yields from the USDA were low. Okay, I really do. But still, it's not enough to save your bacon. If your yields were double that, and I don't know a lot of guys who are turning out in excess of 100 bushels an acre on soybean, but even if it was double that, you're still not hardly making a living off your acreage. Not when you compare it to organic. So what you end up doing is you bring in that crop, you take part of that $81,000 you made, you go out and you buy yourself a little herd of calves, you throw them out into that pasture that you just got done getting that crop off of. You let them do their thing and you let them grow. And when you need that field back for next year's crop, load the cattle up, take them to auction. You made money. Okay, you made money. Because now you're selling a bunch of organically certified grass-fed beef that command higher prices at auction. Think. So, in you younger guys, when you get started on your homesteads, start looking at, when you're in your 70s and 80s, you can still drive a tractor pretty easy. You might need to hire a guy to help you during harvest and during planting to help with the heavy lifting of the sacks of seed and things of this nature. But, your input costs are going to still be down. You're still going to make a lot of money. That is how this works. Okay. I was reading an article and I found it kind of interesting because this particular article was on one of the old school organic farms on the East Coast. But they were crying in their beer because they were the only show in the whole county, as a matter of fact. And there were some affluent areas in the county, and they were cleaning up for a lot of years. And they had two other organic farms pop up on the exact same road that they were located on. Exact same road. And they were talking about having to use these immigrant workers with work permits because all the good workers, the American workers, were working for these other farms that were had deeper pockets. This is the way they described it. Okay, the more I kept reading back and forth, the more it started going, wait a minute. I actually went out and took a look at these other farms, and they're very proud of what they do. And yeah, they are using American workers. They're having to pay a higher wage, thus the reason the other farm lost their workers to them, to retain American workers. But they found that they needed that skilled labor to increase the quality of their product and the quality of the whole experience of buying your produce through those farms. Yeah. Had a different business plan, folks, and they were whooping this other one's butt. Something tells me that they'd had it too good for too long, and they're not willing to kind of back off what they take out of that farm as far as personal expense, and start applying it back into the business. There's no reason for immigrant workers. Agriculture in this country used to employ most people, but you had to pay them a decent wage. You had to pay the going rate for a job. Okay? That's simple. No excuse for it. So don't let people say that bill of goods. Oh, we need our immigrant workers. No, we don't. Americans take those jobs. If we kind of cut back on some of the subsidizing we're doing of people who don't want to work and offer a wage that they can make a living at, they'll go to work. Okay. When you don't have the option, you go to work. Okay. Everybody would like to have a career as a fisherman. Talking about sitting at the lake, having a few beers, fishing. But it doesn't pay much. Okay. When that's your only option, you learn to get off your duff and get out there and get with it. And as organic grows, you'll be creating good jobs if you're one of those folks who understand that American workers are good workers if you're willing to pay the price. Pay the price. But that's the difference, folks. Growing corn, you lost your shirt. Growing soybean, you can make a little money. Here again, why everybody's going into soybean this year. But you're not going to make enough unless you're planting a lot of acres to feed your family. Why is our farmers cutting back on their input costs? They can't afford them. They have to trim that per acre cost way the heck down to make a living. What's that doing to your food? It's increasing the nutritional value of your food. So these are all, it all ties together, folks. And there's the farmer stance of it. Like I said, I'm not really too crazy about the USDA's figures as far as what they're harvesting out there, bushels per acre. I may be totally wrong, but I know too many people that's producing a lot better than that. Okay, but 2 year average spread out all over the country, yeah, it could be right according to their numbers. But it's a no-brainer, folks. Organic farmers are making money. All right, they're making money. Non-organic farmers, conventional farmers are making a little money. You guys out there playing with that GMO nonsense, you're going the way of the dinosaur, and soon you'll be gone. And the problem with that thing is you guys, by what you're allowing to happen in your fields, is contaminating that conventional farmer's field and that organic farmer's field, thus screwing up their livelihoods too. Stop it. And if you've killed your soil, and put the for sale sign up and walk away. Okay? You're not benefiting agriculture by continuing. You're doing it damage. And no, you're not feeding the world. Okay? Corn prices show that. There's plenty of food in the world. All right? And if you'll look at the facts, you're being lied to and lied to and lied to by these people. When are you going to wake up and start looking at the facts? But see, most American farmers planting that stuff don't want to look at the facts. They don't want to look what that stuff is really doing to the soil. They don't want to look at what that stuff is doing to our planet. They don't want to look at that stuff as what it's doing to us humans. Wake up. You will answer for what you're doing. If not in this life, my friend, in the next. Stop it. Go back to conventional, if nothing else. Clean up your act. This is Rich from Tennessee Homestead. Hope you guys are having a great week, and we will talk to you soon. Take care.